Hey guys, and welcome back to the studio. In fact, welcome to my new studio. I've just moved house, so it's been a little while, but I'm back with a video today about sax microphone position. Now, this is something that's incredibly important, especially at the moment when a lot of us are actually stuck at home in, let's say, acoustically not ideal environments. But it's also important when you're recording in a professional recording studio. So I'd like to go through basic position, some considerations you might want to take into account, and share some audio examples with you guys as well. Let's dive in. There's this fantastic audio engineer. His name is Al Schmidt. He's now in his 80s, and he's just got this incredible career working for Capitol Studios mainly. He's really well known for his miking technique. His whole philosophy centers around making sure you get it right at the source, miking it up properly so that later on you don't have to do too much work trying to mix the thing to make it sound any good. So we're going to take that philosophy with our saxophone playing as well. I think it's really helpful because you don't want to be sitting at your computer for ages trying to do EQs to fix a faulty recording, although maybe sometimes that happens, but we want to avoid that if we can. And so I watched a bunch of videos of him in the studio and read some articles and whatnot. And I've based this microphone position more or less on what I could tell he did. And that is to have the microphone up, elevated above the sax a little bit, pointing down in between the bell and the palm keys. So we're balancing the warmth of the bell and the low end of the saxophone and the honk with the kind of high frequency brightness and clarity you get from up near the palm keys. Also, keep it offset slightly to the right-hand side of the saxophonist. And this will also help to get it in the optimum position for where the sound is emanating from the saxophone. Finally, in terms of distance, keep it about 30 centimeters, 1 foot away from the sax as a starting point, and then we can adjust that if need be. All right, let's talk about a few considerations here. Firstly is the room. If you've got a room with a terrible sound and you want to cut that sound out, keep the mic pretty close to the saxophone. You may want to come even closer, but just be aware that if you get so close, you might get some weird effects and you might start to lose a bit of the balance that we were talking about before. So it's always going to be a bit of a trade-off there. Conversely, if you've got a room sound that's really nice and you're finding that your saxophone recording is sounding a bit dry, then you may want to back off the mic a little bit, raise it up slightly, and get a bit more of that room sound coming through. And that can really help to warm and sweeten up the sound of the saxophone a little bit. Okay, second consideration. Maybe you're getting too much air, key, breath noise in your recordings. Now, this comes down to playing technique as well as miking technique. You might find if you're really mashing those keys hard, then you're going to get a lot of key noise no matter what you do. So make sure you are playing fairly relaxed with your fingering technique, if that's an issue for you. The other thing you can do is back off the mic a little bit and try and blow a little harder, a bit more projection through the horn, and that will hopefully help to minimize the amount of those sounds that you're getting as well. One last thing with that, if you're using a clip-on mic and you've actually got that clipped onto the bell, that might make it really hard to eliminate the key noise. So rather than clipping it to the bell, try clipping it to a mic stand and then getting it in the optimum position, and that might really, really help. Now, a couple of things to avoid. Try not to put the microphone too far to one side because you may then actually only get a paper-thin sound, missing out on the sound of that bell, the honk that you need. Also, don't have it too low. I've seen this heaps, and you just kind of get this real honky, raucous sound, which can be cool, but in general, it doesn't sound that great, and it's really hard to fix with EQ, etc. Now, a good way to get the optimum position is to set it up in a position you think is ideal, and pop some headphones on, and then do a bit of a play test and move side to side, up and down, find the spot that works, adjust the mic, and then maybe record a couple of phrases and just listen back and make sure that the sound that's coming through is what you want. Just a little bit of that understanding, a little bit of that patience and method. If you can take that amount of care before you start recording, then you'll be much happier, I hope, with your recordings after you've done them. And so I really, really recommend it. It can make such a difference to the kind of sound that you're getting. And it can make a really big difference to the consistency of the sound quality of your recordings, which is super important if you're doing your own recording projects, and definitely if you're recording for other people and doing session work. So I hope that that's all been really helpful. I'm going to leave you with a couple of audio examples of me playing a couple of phrases, different mic positions. Let me know what you think. Make sure you pop on headphones to listen to those. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, stay saxy.